please subscribe. Please hit like and share it with your friends. So today we've got a special video for you. I've got a Zoom talk with Mr. Chris Spinner. So he is a watchmaker and does superb watch repair work. He kind of has all the same tools I have and has dealt with all the same problems I've dealt with. So we decided to do a Zoom meeting and have a chat. So we're chatting about all kinds of funny stuff. Now, we could only do a short Zoom meeting because we're not buying Zoom Pro yet. But I'd like to know if you are interested out there to join our Zoom meeting and ask questions. I'm going to set up another meeting for next Sunday, and I will send out the Zoom coordinates to anyone who's interested. Just let me know, and I'll email you the Zoom coordinates, and you can join the meeting. So I'd like to keep it to maybe 6 people max. So that's 4 additional people: Chris, myself, JD, and 4 other people. So please enjoy the video. It took a little while to figure out how to process it properly, but we did it. We had a chat online. 2 watchmakers living in 2 different countries. I'm up here in Canada. He's down in the U.S. of A. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. And we're live. And now that we're live, we're live. So I'm JD Richard, and you are
Chris Spinner.
Hey, how you doing? And I'm watch my service, so I'm going to try to look at the camera too, because you're looking at, or I'll just look over at you. Hang on, because you're over there. So if you turn your head, yeah, perfect. That's the way. So I can't reach over and grab your neck though. That doesn't work. So anyway, we're testing this out. So all for everybody out there that knows both myself and Chris, we're both watchmakers. I work on a lot of pocket watches. Chris works on pocket watches as well, I believe, and I've been doing I'll just introduce myself briefly. I've been doing this probably for the last, since 2007, I think, is when I started. Maybe earlier than that, somewhere around there I started, and I started because I had a Seiko dive watch that wasn't working, and I sent it to a guy to get repaired or fixed, sped up, I think, at the time. And he held it for 2 or 3 weeks, and I kept calling him. And then when he said it was ready, I went there, and he was winging it. He didn't do anything. I don't think he did anything. So I said I should be able to regulate a watch. So I got onto YouTube, and $50,000 worth of tools later, here we are. So that's how it all started for me. What about you, Chris?
It's a rabbit hole. Yeah, funny story. So my background's in engineering, and I think yours is as well. And
Yeah.
so everything mechanical has always interested me. And it was really just a few years ago I was training for a race down here in South Carolina, and running at night. Usually it's the only time I get to run on the trails after the kids go to bed, right? So I had the headlamp on and everything, and I come across a stream, and embedded within the side of the stream is this old pocket watch. It's like a Hunter pocket watch. I assumed it was like a Waltham 1883. It was a pretty typical watch.
Yeah.
Completely gone, right? The brass plating looked pretty bad, but of course everything that was steel was completely ruined. But I took it apart anyway. I said, this is absolutely fascinating. And so I started researching, and the more I researched, the more interested I became. And eventually I did the kind of the amateur path, going through different online courses and videos, and just went on eBay, getting the parts watches, just trying my luck with really basic sets of tools, and then sort of grew things from there.
So did you buy the cheap tools when you started out?
I did, actually. I still use my screwdrivers are still the Amazon screwdrivers.
Really?
If you're gingerly with them, they're okay. But if you get to a really stiff one, you'll round it off because they're so soft. But honestly, I think I might be having my eye on a good deal of version, the 9-piece with the rotating stand.
Yeah. Those are nice.
I've got this mishmash of like high-end vintage tools, and then just the Amazon stuff that doesn't seem to fail me, right? I think I know how to dress them up. I can get the replacement tips, and they do just fine.
Yeah, and I bought my, I think it was Bergeron as well, these screwdrivers. See if you can see these here. This set of screwdrivers here, this is what they look like. And I've got the shading on here, but You get the idea. Look at that fog.
Just sensory.
Yeah, I know, but they're just basic screwdrivers, and they are Bergeron screwdrivers, made in Switzerland. So, and I started off buying crappy tools as well. I was buying stuff that I never thought I'd ever use, but I bought it anyway. I bought some. Just I may have to turn off my background. It's a bit messy back there. I've got a curtain with stuff on it, but I bought one of these, and you probably have one too, and it's for putting crystals in, and
Right.
it's totally useless. So this thing here, it's only good if you're going to grab a crystal that's if you have a watch that's where the movement is front mounted, like top mounted on the watch, and you have to remove the crystal to get at the movement. So I've had a few watches over the years where I've had to take this thing here and then screw these little claws of death around the crystal and then squeeze it a bit and then lift it out. So it's for vintage plastic crystals. So I bought that really early, thinking, oh, I'm going to use that all the time. It looks really good. And nah, use it like 4 times maybe in 20 years. So
Yeah, that's they're very much designed for a specific type of crystal, and if you don't use it right, they'll do a really good job at scratching the heck out of your acrylic.
oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. What about parts? Have you gone on eBay to buy parts like I have? I spent years buying parts on eBay. Just
yes, it's my go-to aside from auto pry. Um, I mean, Dave's watch parts
yeah, good old Dave.
definitely the go-to. I mean, Dave's a great stand-up guy. But yeah, a lot of times I'll try to buy an entire parts watch because a 20-something dollar pocket watch, especially if it's one of the more common kinds, I
Yeah,
mean, you can just harvest them for parts all day long. But sometimes you're looking at a Volju chronograph, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy an entire donor movement for that.
yeah. I'm with. I'm gonna change glasses. This looks stupid. There we go. We're back in business. This is as I keep saying my Airy loop, ARY, right? $150 for this thing. So it's not cheap.
That's handy. I know I tried I got this for Christmas last year from my dad, and I don't use it.
Yeah, I
Just
know. Yeah,
they're in the way. I can't.
I looked at those too, but you've seen the Airy loop. I've had them in a couple of videos, right? And it's really nice. I mean, this thing squeezes around your glasses. It comes. You just basically squeeze these tabs in, and it hugs your glasses. And this loop is you can adjust the tension here, but it's high end. And I saw a Swiss watchmaker. It's ARY, and I saw a Swiss watchmaker with it on. I was watching videos of some sort, and I saw that. I said, I got to find out what that is, right? So I started hunting, and I found out. I found it, and I think it's a European company that makes them. I don't think they're U.S. or I know they're not Canadian. Oh, I'm up in Canada, by the way. For anyone who's watching and who hasn't heard me babble and tell jokes or do impressions and stuff like that, I'm up in
That's
Canada.
a trick.
And magic tricks. Yeah, where's it? Do I have a deck of cards on me here? Where's they? Oh, look, there's one up here. I can always be in the reach of a deck of cards. It's amazing. I went through an oil change for my wife's car the other day, and I was talking to the kids that were doing the oil work, and I said, basically, I said, yeah, I do a bit of magic too, and I said, you want to see a trick? And I was like, see, you got to be able to feather the cards out like that, eh? So, so I'm not going to do a trick though. But anyway, yeah, I've been doing magic since I was 8, I think, and got really serious about it probably 30 years ago. And I did. There's a big telephone company up here, Bell Canada, Alexander Graham Bell, right? And anyway, I did the 400 people. I did the Christmas show in 1993, I think, and I had chain escapes and everything. So, and I can also balance crap on my chin and juggle. So I'm basically an entertainer, but I'm an electrical engineer. I'm an engineer like you are. So I did go to university, took engineering, and I took biomedical engineering as well. So so I was working with myoelectric signal processing for prosthetics. So back when I was smart, that's MRT.
Well, you're still in aerospace, aren't you?
I am. I am. I'm the GM of an aerospace company up here in Canada. So, and I think the people that know me know I'm a little bit off. So I've got a sense of humor even when I have serious meetings, kind of break the ice a bit. And I remember having a meeting with the Canadian customer, and I told Canada we're the only country that invites the whole country to a meeting. I thank Canada for being here. I don't think Americans say that same thing when they have the U.S. Military in a meeting. They don't say, "I'd like to thank America for being here today." We do it in Canada. I don't know why. We're only like 20 kilometers from coast to coast, so so yeah.
Do you
So
your meetings remote? Because I mean, I feel like at least in my industry, I'm in financial services, but like, yeah, we invite everybody because there's no
yeah.
conference room to fill up, right? So you could have 50 people on a call,
Oh
no
yeah,
problem.
yeah. Now the problem with work is that everybody knows I do watches, so I've done more watches for folks that I know or people that work for me, right? There was a limo guy used to pick me up a couple of years back. I was actually getting limo drives in my previous job, which is sweet, baby. Uh,
Well, tell me where I.
and I didn't grow up with limo drives, trust me. And I got to know the limo driver, and I ended up fixing two of his watches for free because he was a nice guy, right? And it was, there's always a story. I like doing repairs of watches that are they're people's great grandmother, or they just mean something to the person. So it's not for the financial gain or reward at all. It's actually for the reward, knowing that someone's going to take that watch that their great grandmother gave them. It's from the 1800s, and they're going to give it to their grandchild, something like that. And I'll do what we call it Dunkin' Donuts in the U.S. It's Tim Hortons up in Canada, but I'll work Tim Horton wages to get that damn thing running, like the Frankenwatch that you probably saw me working on, the amazing Frankenwatch.
I followed that series. Yeah, that was quite the assembly there.
It's quite the adventure, yeah. I think I probably could have not taken that the jewel setting. Like I was jewel setting hunting, right? And I've got a lot of jewel settings. And as you saw, I found the right diameter jewel setting, but I had to shave material off it. So I waxed it onto I shellacked it onto a post, and then put it in my lathe, and made sure that it was centered, and did all that wonderful stuff. And I made a video over it. So I like you do lathe work. Yeah, did you?
Yeah, in fact, I what you just described, I just did that on a Howard movement that actually will go live on Friday. It's scheduled, but I had it was a shatter jewel. A lot of things wrong with that watch, but for the upper balance jewel was shattered, so I ordered a replacement for a Howard, and usually it just drops in and it works fine, but it was too big. The whole size of the jewel is fine, but I did just what you described. Put in the wax chuck, shaved a little bit of the diameter off, dropped right into place.
It worked perfect.
Yeah.
How did
But,
you?
I mean, I don't know what I would do without that lead. I mean, I don't use it for every repair, but
Yeah, yeah.
when you need it,
How did
those
you?
need
How did you? How did you
to stick
center
to it.
the? How did you center the jewel?
The dead center and the tailstock. So actually, not shellac, I used super glue on a brass rod that was smaller. So as the super glue was starting to cure, I put the jewel on it, and I gently
Touched.
touched it with the tailstock with the dead center, so it centered the jewel, and then I was able to pull it away, and it stayed put, and it was
And that
centered. So I started turning, there was really no
and
run
that
out at
was
all.
a new jewel in a setting, right? That you were
Correct.
working on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's pretty
Yeah, it
brave.
was new. It was pretty tarnished looking, but it was a good
Yeah, yeah.
jewel,
That
and I had to do something with it.
yeah, that would have freaked me out. Actually, I'm always paranoid about damaging stuff. So putting that center on that would have made me very nervous. Even though I think you saw I used the back of a needle because it's rounded. It's kind of oval shaped, the back end of a sewing needle, and I put
Yeah.
the front end of the sewing needle in my collet holding tailstock, and then pushed that towards the jewel as the shellac started to harden. So I ended up having to heat it up. I gave up, right? So at first, let me reach. I got to reach back for something. Got a lot of stuff right over here that's all shaded, but I get boatloads of stuff that I bought that I never use, like this thing here. This thing is gorgeous, right? That's a micrometer, and it cost a fortune, and I never use it, and it can measure down to almost nothing. So, but this handy little torch here, this is one of those. This is a turn your work area into a friggin' there. See that? Now I gotta make sure I don't point that at anything serious in this room because it'll fry shit. So, so I remember every time so what I did was I was very good. I used a candle right? A spirit lamp, as they call it. It's almost ghostly. So I use
Yeah,
a
yeah.
spirit lamp, and I called upon the spirits of watchmakers past to help draw some heat onto
Nice,
the.
guys.
That's it. So this is this a show and tell? So we both have to grab our spirit lamps here, okay? There we go. It's a show and
Nice.
tell. What I think is great about these spirit lamps is you can rest them sideways, right? Like there's a side right there that you can put it down like that, and the spirit lamp sits sideways. So
Oh yeah.
it doesn't have to be under the part, right? It can be over to the side. That's why I designed them that way. And so I need a new wick for this one. Actually, the wick's starting to get pretty tethered. Is that the right word? Engineers don't know many words. So that's my spirit lamp. Anyway, I was hoping to conjure up some spirits, maybe the ghost of Houdini, bring him in. It's like I've never met you before, Chris, right? Think of a number.
So since we're in the spirit of show and tell, what did you have what's next to you? What you just finished, or
Yeah, I've been working on, well, the watch I worked on today, I'll just pick it up very carefully and put it in front of the camera, but I got it winged out here. So it's a Hunter, and I've got parts in both sides of the case. So I've got it in a case. It's a Waltham, very old pocket watch. It's a 7 jewel. It's not really that expensive. And I cleaned it up today. I've got everything is in the basket. So when I do my cleaning baskets for my cleaning machine, this is the basket here for the cleaning machine.
yeah,
And
that's a nice one.
I
It's layered, right? You've got different layers.
yeah, there's one, two, three layers, and when I fill the basket up, I'll fill the bottom layer. I'll put the plates in and the mainspring on the bottom layer. The second layer has got four little containers where I'll put small parts in that. And in the video I've posted today, I believe, um, I think I have videotaped myself filling the basket up. Yeah, pretty much. I've done it a few times. But I put this basket, my cleaning machine's downstairs in the basement. So I put this basket in a box, and this is in case I trip or something, that I don't lose the parts all over the place. Because you can imagine, I haven't done that yet. So, knock on skin. But someday,
The thought runs through my head every time because I'm in an upstairs guest room and my cleaning machine's in my garage. So it's the
oh yeah,
walk down the stairs and the lights are off, right? So I got to turn the lights on so I don't trip over a kid toy, right? And spill all the parts on the floor.
well, you've probably done part hunting on your carpet, eh? Do you have carpet in your room, or are you?
Well, yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like the worst kind of carpet. It's like thicker kind that's
yeah.
it's got like the tabbiness in it, so everything blends in. So I've got oh yeah,
You're
I've
screwed.
got this magic magnetic wand that I've used on more than one occasion. This sweet.
It's a giant
You hear,
magnet for picking up parts.
you hear the click.
Is that Amazon? Is that an
There it is.
Amazon wand too?
I think I got this from Hobby Lobby.
Oh yeah. No, I had a. There's fishing magnets. They have a rope on them, and you throw them off the dock, and you try to catch stuff people wanted to get rid of, like a gun. Maybe someone shot someone and threw the gun in the water, and you use a fishing. Whenever you throw the magnet out, you're hoping to get something really good. Eh? Maybe a watch. So I've been down on the floor. So I've got a pair. I got to reach up again here. I apologize, but I may have to stand this time. Okay, this is serious stuff here. But I have to grab a. Where is this? I have a special. Okay, there they are. I have a pair of glasses that I bought in Italy. So I purchased these glasses in Torino, Italy. So I went to a watch store in Torino, Italy. Right, I was there on business quite a lot for about 2 years. I was going there about once a month, and I like Italy. I love the Italians. My wife is actually a Canadian Italian, so I can't say anything bad about them. So I'll end up in Lake Ontario with boots that are made of cement. So I don't want to be that guy. Anyway, these are the glasses. So I was in Torino, and this is pretty cool. Eh? Like, so these glasses are dual lens, and the outer lens focuses with the inner lens, right? So you put the glasses on, and there's two wheels. There's two wheels on either side that move the lens in and out. See? If you can see it moving like that. And you can get stereoscopic viewing. It looks really freaky, by the way. I hope I don't scare you. But there we go.
You look like you're from the future.
I know. Bring me to your leader. So, so, so I use these when I drop a part on the carpet because they're perfect. And I'll be on my hands and knees. My wife will walk in and go, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm looking for a part. And most of the time I find it, believe it or not. I'll look and look and look, and you can almost tell the direction the part goes if you remember ever losing a part. I don't lose very many parts these days. Like I haven't lost parts in years, but when I first started, I would, like I've told people about this stick I bought, this Bergeron stick. It's and it's basically, I think it's polyamide is the way you pronounce it. Polyamide. And it's a stick that's flat on one side. It's got a little grippy thing here. I'm not sure what the hell it's for, but flat on one side and pointy on the other. And when I take a balance staff off, I'll rest. Oh, geez, he's got the same stick. Chris, what the hell? You're my brother from another mother. But I'll rest that stick on the balance, or I'll rest it on the spring or whatever when I'm loosening the part or whatever. So I didn't used to do that when I was younger. I used to just pray a lot. Or I'd use Rodico and I'd try to press Rodico down so in the part where I loosened the part, it would stick to the Rodico. So I still do that occasionally if it's a real bugger of a part. So I haven't been on the carpet in a while though.
Yeah, the worst is when you lose the brass part in the carpet, then you have no choice but to get down on hands and knees. There's no magnet to save your day.
Well, yeah, you can't get that by a magnet, and then you have to make a new part. So I found
that was one of my biggest lessons learned is never assume the jewel setting is firmly friction fit into the plate. Right?
Oh.
So if you're undoing the balance setting,
yeah,
and you flip it over to then push it out from the other side.
Yeah.
Well, there was one I had just kind of over my lap, and I flipped it over to put it in the staking set, and the whole thing just fell off. I found him, unfortunately, because at least you look down, you have some situational awareness, and at least, all right, it's going to be in one of this 8x8-inch area between my feet. So
oh man.
It'll take like a good 20 minutes.
Yeah, part hunting
It
is.
falls down and goes sideways into the pile of the carpets. You got to be really careful.
Yeah, and if I'm wearing sweats or something, I have a pair of sweats on right now, and I've got the cuffs rolled up. You got to look in the cuff, right? Because if it's
yeah, or in the shoelaces.
you
Yeah.
find watch parts in the cuff. So I fixed a gentleman's the one that I said that's a wind indicator. It's a wind indicator on it, but they're spelt the same, wind and wind. I'm like, what the hell's that all about? Like, pick another. So wine would be WINE, not D, because they would make the I sound like an I, right? Wine, like wind. But wind is spelled WIND, so it's probably wind. Anyway, they had to change the word, otherwise they wouldn't have been able to wind their watches. Anyway, the guy showed up with a watch that had the balance cock and the regulation device in there. There was a screw missing, and it fell out. And so I had to go screw hunting, and it was the world's smallest screw. It was a screw smaller than the ones that you have in your in your glasses, right?
Yeah. Is this the one that holds the hairspring stud?
No, it's not actually. This is the one that was screwed down to hold the regulator arm. So there's the ones where you screw the regulator and it pushes out and then it speeds up the watch.
Yeah. What do they call it? Right? Is that the church kind?
It might be a church. Yeah, it might be a church. I could look it up. I'm bad for names because I fix things. I don't tell myself what they are as I'm fixing them, right? I think someone told me the other day that the ratchet wheel is the one that's got the ratchety sound when you turn it, and the crown wheel is the other one, right? Because I'm like,
crown wheel, yeah.
because I'm always joking around.
Ratchet wheel.
Yeah. Anyway, I had to file the back end of that balance cock to file that screw down, and I've got like a million files. I got the box. I got another. Oh, I got it's within reach, eh? So things are always within reach. I'm like in a Leopard tank right now. I think in the U.S. you have the M1A1 Abrams. Up in Canada we have the Leopard, and so I have. I'm just going to take some of the stuff out of this box and then show you. This is my collection of files. So I got a gajillion files there of all different sizes and types, and then I've got other files that go in the box. Then if I want to make a hole bigger, I got these. I just dropped one down. Not good.
That's another tool, the broaching. That's
Yeah.
another tool you don't want to cheap out on.
Now you're gonna do some.
And I have the Amazon. What do they call it? The anchor.
Oh yeah. Those are.
I think Eslinger sells a lot of anchor stuff. It's soft steel from India, which is fine for some things, but a broaching tool not great for.
Yeah, Anchor sells that oil too, which is really shitty. So I buy the expensive oil as well. It comes in a little capsule. It's like in a nitroglycerin container. Right? I don't know if you remember those old cowboy movies where the guy had to move the nitroglycerin across and it was shaking. Oh, look at that! He's got the same container. Mother of God! Nobody.
So actually, these Mobius oils are super expensive, and
Yep.
for typical hobbyists, it's probably repairing a watch a month. It's hard to justify, but there's a guy on eBay. You could probably just search for it with some keywords, but he sells repackaged Mobius oils. So he'll give you like an assortment of, an eighth of one of those bottles, and then you'll get like the 941, the 910, the D5, or the HP 1300.
Yeah.
And it's like, for the price of one bottle of oil, you can get the whole gamut, and it'll probably last you a year.
And those are pretty much the only oils you need. The only other oil I put on the watch is, and I've said it a few times in my videos, let me grab it here, is I put on this Mobius 9415, this stuff here.
Yeah, that's for the palate, right?
Exactly. It goes on the pallet fork, and I've seen, really huge amplitude changes when I put that on. So
I only use the 941. There's like a high beat, low beat, I think, difference between the two.
Yeah.
Whether they use 941 versus 9415. But the other super expensive thing is, if you ever work on automatics, this Kluber, it's censored.
What's it called?
The Kluber P125. It's the automatic braking grease.
Oh yeah, yeah.
On the walls of the barrel.
Yeah, I got some of that behind me.
Really
Don't make me reach. I got some of that behind me. Don't make me reach. Like, I'm reaching. I got like, you and I have probably the same amount of crap that we've purchased. Every time you get a watch problem, you end up having to buy a watch solution, which is usually either a part or a tool or knowledge, like books. I have all the books as well on watchmaking, and I've got books. I look behind me. I got a library of books. Practical course in horology, practical course in adjusting watches. I just have tons of books, and there's a few. I made some videos on books too. So
I feel like by this point, you probably felt the same way. We have everything we need to be successful, and then any purchases beyond what we already have is more like, but now we can make our lives a little bit easier with this new purchase, rather than early on when we started out, it was, I physically just can't do this because I just don't have to. Now, that being said, I don't have the gear cutter. I can't make my own wheels. I can't top my own wheels. Like, that's kind of where I draw the line as a hobbyist. Like, that's another significant step of an investment that I'm just not willing to do.
Well, I actually want to do that, believe it or not, and I've got.
It's so cool.
I bought the gear. What's it called? Geartronic or Gearonics. It's a software program for patterning, for basically designing the gear and make sure the gears mesh with the pinions and all that. And I actually built a digital watch in that and had it working in that program. I did it probably 4 years ago, just to understand the math and the geometry around gears. So eventually, if something comes up and I get that urge, I'll hit buy, right? And then I'm in a whole other world, right? Then and you're doing that. I'm a member of the Ottawa Watch and Clock Society here, and I'm basically the pocket watch guy in there, and they send people to me all the time, right? And all the other dudes are clock dudes, right? And with the big mainsprings that'll take your fingers off and stuff like that, right? So,
Yeah,
not interested.
not for the faint of heart.
No, and a lot of room, a lot of space.
Yeah,
So,
there's a couple of really talented people on the Facebook groups that, I mean, they put other hobbyists to shame. Like this one guy, he took like an hour wheel that had teeth missing, right? But he didn't cut his own hour wheel. But what he did was he silver soldered some piece of steel onto it, filed it down, and then he actually had a wheel cutter, and he just
new teeth.
with the rest of the teeth, and then used the Tommy tool to round off the teeth, and it worked perfect.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, I've done teeth transplants before, right? Where you have
Yeah,
a
it's
broken or
just
bent tooth. That's not too bad because you can file an opening and solder in a new tooth. And I've bent teeth back. Where I've had a bent tooth, like I've looked at the watch and it seems to stop at exactly the same place. So you take a marker basically and mark the position, so you can actually see where it's stopping each time, and then you examine the gear pinions that are touching the gear pinion interfaces to see which one is the guilty one. And then I've found, sometimes it takes 20 minutes to find the damn thing, right? But I've found teeth bent and had to bend it back. So I've heated it up just a bit, and then bent it back and then let it cool off. You can. I got all kinds of books on tempering and crap too, because I was doing a lot of, I was going to prepare my blued steel for balance staffs. Have you made a balance staff yet on your lathe?
I have not been consistent with it. Also, the fact that I can still readily buy the balance staffs I need online for a very reasonable price.
Yeah.
It hasn't been, I'm sure, out of necessity. I'm going to have to at some point.
Yeah, that's the only time I do it. I'll go to Dave's Watch Parts, send him the part number and all the dimensions of the staff because he needs everything, right? And then he's good. He usually sends me the right staff, but I've made quite a few balance staffs over the years. I actually like making them. It's very nerve-wracking though when you get to the pivots at the end and you're working that pivot down to 0.10 or 0.09 or something, and you're like, you get the hiccups, like that, and you're frig.
You feel like you fumble the ball right at the end zone.
Yeah. I got it.
So I think Zoom is telling us we've got a minute and a half before they cut us off.
Yeah, we got a minute and a half, and before we go pro, but we can. I think we'll get people's feedback and ask if they want us to do this weekly. If people want to join us as well to ask questions, I can invite them in the video to join us and ask questions. So what I'll do is I'll intro the video. So I'll make a quick video, put this in the middle, intro it, and then we'll invite others. Any closing words? Give you the last minute, Chris.
Wish me luck. I'm diving into this Value 77C tonight. 72C, sorry.
Yeah, and I did the 7750 there about 9 months ago for a guy.
Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
It works. The guy shows he's a pilot. He's a fighter pilot, retired, and he keeps showing he's still working. Because every time I ask him, does this still work? Because they're, the flyback mechanisms, all that crap, very complex, right? So, anyway, I think we're out of time. So nice to see you, Chris. So, if you want to do this again next Sunday, same time, same bat channel.
Sounds great.
And I'll send out a meeting request, but I'll also leave a link in for anyone who wants to join us. If that's okay with you.
Sounds good.
Could get wild and crazy. You take care. If you need anything from me, let me know, okay?
All right. Have a great evening.
All right. You take care, Chris. Bye.